Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa-Chanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Namaste and good evening, everybody. Bhagavad Gita class, but also it's kind of overshadowed because of the presence of Ma Durga here. Durga Puja is going on, Navaratri, and we did the Mahashtami Puja this morning. Now in the Bhagavad Gita, we are on the 13th chapter. The chapter which is called Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. The yoga of discernment between field and knower of the field. What is this field and knower of the field? We have been doing this all the time in Vedanta. This is the first thing, the basic thing that one does in Vedanta, the primary thing that one does in Vedanta. If we look at the talks which I've been giving the last so many years, it's all the distinction between the self and the not self. The claim of Vedanta is that the most obvious thing in life, which we never question, I, me, myself, that Vedanta questions. First, draw your attention towards yourself. We might say, that'll make me a narcissistic person. I am all the time concerned about myself. But not really, we are not really concerned about ourselves. We do not know what we truly are. That's the claim of Vedanta. So first, Vedanta wants to introduce us to our self, but the capital S self, the real self. Vedanta claims that we do not know the real self. And not only that, if we did know the real self, it would make all the difference in our life. Everything would be solved at a deep level if we knew ourselves truly. So that's a huge claim of Vedanta, and Vedanta wants to introduce us to ourselves. And Sri Krishna is doing that. In 13th chapter, he starts off this distinction between the self and the not self. Only here he introduces two new terms, field and knower of the field. The field is the body-mind, Krishna tells Arjuna. And you, the one who knows this from within. We are all aware of our own bodies, our own thoughts from within, as it were. That you, the knower of this body-mind, this is the knower of the field. So, that does not sound very difficult. No, it isn't. But then, when you investigate further, that which you know, that which you are a knower of, that which is an object to you, and you are the subject, the two cannot be the same thing. The seer and the seen are not the same thing. Drashta and drishya cannot be the same thing. The knower of the field and the field cannot be the same thing. What does that mean? And then we went through the whole process of seeing that we cannot be the body, we cannot even be the mind, because they are known, they are part of the field. And I am the knower of the field. In that case, the first remarkable discovery is, I am not the body. Knower of the field and the field are two different things. And if the body is the field, I am the knower of the field, then I must be something different from the field. I am not the body. And even more remarkably, I am not the mind. Because the mind is also the field. I'm aware of the mind. If I'm aware of something, it's the field. So I am aware of the mind. Thoughts, feelings, emotions, personality, memory. All of this is not me. It's an object. It's part of the field. I am the knower of the mind. So this, when we investigate what is the knower of the field, Kshetrajna, we come to the first remarkable discovery, that we cannot be bodies or minds. Then what am I? Before this, we are pretty clear what I am. I am a biological being. The body is a biological machine. I am a psychological being, a social being. But all of that, the psychological part of it, the social part of it, the biological part of it, all of that is now consigned to the field. And I am the knower of the field. Well, two things are very clear. As the knower of the field, it's definitely, one thing is clear, that I exist. My own existence is there. And another thing is clear, that I am aware. Because I am the knower. The sense of knowing is awareness. I am aware. So existence awareness is the nature of this knower of the field. So in this way we did whole analysis. This is called ātma-vinigrahaḥ. It's the beginning of Vedanta. The discrimination or the discernment between the self and the not self. Between what I truly am and what I used to think I am. Separate it. I know the carpet and the flowers and the chair, this is not me. This is anatma, not self. I know that automatically. But as a result of this analysis of field and knower of the field, I now know what I thought was I, body, that now belongs to the not me. Huge, huge step. Even if you just understand it intellectually. And what I used to think most intimately was me, I, me, myself, my thoughts, my memories, my ideas about myself and the world, my personality. That is also not me. That's also part of the not self, anatma, kshetra, field. And I am the knower of the field. And then we saw in the next verse, even more stunning. So this is the first discovery. What is the discovery? I am consciousness. Before that, what did I think? I am flesh and blood and bones, and I am thoughts and feelings and emotions and memory and ego. All of that is not me now. Don't look so confused. This is already done. You are advanced students now. This is all basic stuff. And then we had a couple of questions that this knower of the field, how many of them are there? There's so many fields. Hundreds, thousands of bodies, millions of bodies. Not only human bodies, animal bodies and so on. So, how many knowers of the field are there? And what about God? We have not mentioned God yet. So, then the tremendous assertion of Sri Krishna. That's one of the most dramatic statements in the whole of the Bhagavad Gita. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. O Arjuna, in all these fields. Remember, it's a very apt kind of use of words because he's on the battlefield, Kurukshetra. But he says all these, this is what kind of field is this? There's all these bodies are fields. In all these thousands and hundreds of thousands of soldiers gathered here, they're all fields. In all of them, there's only one knower of the field. Until the discernment was made, until this viveka was done, until this investigation was done, we wouldn't have understood this statement. Because we feel, yeah, there are thousands of people, but there are thousands of persons, thousands of knowers of the field also. In each one, there is a separate knower of the field. But if you separate the mind and the memory and the personality and just take consciousness, then the question arises, is it one consciousness in all fields? Or is it many consciousnesses, if that term is ever possible, in all fields? Many personalities, no doubt about it. Each of us, body is separate, personality is also separate. But beyond the personality, the core of the personality, the awareness itself, is it many or one? And Sri Krishna says, it is one. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu. In all these fields, there is one knower of the field. We are all one. And what is this one knower of the field? Sri Krishna says, I am that. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi. Bhagavan says, the Divine Mother says, Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Krishna, the Lord says, I am one consciousness in all these bodies and minds. Which means, this is another way of putting the same tattvamasi, you are that. You, if you truly know yourself, tvam, you, are tat, that. Or tat, that. You and that are one reality. That is just a visualization, a symbolic representation of this one consciousness in all bodies and minds. One consciousness identified with one body and mind, that's you or me. But that one consciousness, you, identified with all bodies and minds, that's that. That's a symbolic representation of God. And it's already a done deal. Nothing else has to be done. This kshetragya has to be realized. Sri Krishna tells Arjuna, you realize yourself as that? That's it. You are the one consciousness behind all bodies and minds. Is there death for you? There's no death for you. Bodies will die. You will not die. Is there depression for you? No. Mind becomes depressed. You, the one consciousness, illumines that depressed mind also. See, so many people are depressed. So many are elated. But you are the one sun shining on all of them. What are you? Are you depressed or elated? Neither. So many people are awake. Some are sleeping. Some are dreaming. What are you? Awake, sleeping or dreaming? You, the one consciousness, you are the sun which shines on all of them. You are eternally awake. There's so much conflict in the world, so much turmoil. And some people are peaceful and serene. Are you peaceful, serene, or are you in turmoil and conflict? You are the one consciousness shining on all these minds. The conflicted ones, the ones in violence, the ones suffering, the ones in unconcerned, the ones peaceful. All of them are illumined by you, the one consciousness. And you just have to realize this. It's already a done deal. Then how do you realize it? How does one get it? That's what Shastra does. That's what the scriptures do. The words. Krishna is introducing Arjuna to his real nature. Krishna is introducing Arjuna to his real nature, our real nature. There is a text, Panchadashi, written by Vidyarnya Swami about 700 years ago. A masterpiece of Advaita Vedanta. It sort of packs in all the Upanishadic wisdom into 15 chapters on Vedanta. What it tells you is that you are one consciousness, not body, not mind, and this one consciousness, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, Drashta, it's a Sakshi, it's the Sakshi, the witness of our waking life, of our dream life, of our deep sleep life. You are one consciousness. You're awake in the waking, you're awake in the dream, you're awake in the deep sleep. That same one consciousness is the witness of the physical body, the pranic body, the mental body, the intellectual body, and the causal body. What are they? Pranamaya, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. All of them appear to you, that same one consciousness. You are the witness of Desha, Kala, Vastu, unlimited by space, unlimited by time, unlimited by object. That one consciousness. What does it mean, unlimited? It means right now we find ourselves very limited. I am limited in space. Here I am not there. But imagine the space that you saw in your dream. Suppose you were dreaming. In the dream you saw a place, sky, earth, people, streets, buildings, so much space. But when you woke up, in the dream, what did it feel like? I am here. I am here. I have a feeling Siri is speaking for lots of people. I don't understand. Yeah, we should. That's why question answer is important. So let me explain until she understands. In our dream, consider what it feels like in a dream. It feels just like this. I am here, that person is there, here is a room, and this space is outside me. I am just in a little bit in this part of the space. But when I wake up, what will happen? All the people and all the space there, they were all in me, the dreaming mind. In fact, they were not actually in me. It's my dreaming mind which appeared as the space and all the objects in that space. True or not? This should be clear. This is an example. If the example is not clear, Vedanta will never be clear. Example is something that we all agree to. No, nobody seems to be very clear. Straightforward example. Everybody feels that. Nobody feels that there was actually a vast space and city inside my skull when I was dreaming. No. It was imagined in the mind. The mind itself appeared as all of that. Can we say the dreaming mind pervaded all of that dream space? Everything was pervaded in the sense it was nothing but the dreaming mind. Similarly, the claim is this sakshi, this witness consciousness, is not limited by the waking space also. This space also appears to you, the witness consciousness. This time also appears to you, the witness consciousness, in you, the witness consciousness. And indeed, all objects experienced here, they are not, see, all of this seems external to me because of my body-centeredness. From the perspective of my body, there is no doubt this is all outside me. Even my dress is outside me. And you are all outside. And this body is this, and there's something inside. From the body perspective. But think about it from the mind perspective or consciousness perspective. The body appears in consciousness. This space appears in consciousness. All of you appear in consciousness. Somebody might say, I hope you say, this question should arise. Hey, just a minute, all of this appears to you in consciousness, no doubt about it, in you or in your consciousness. But there is a vast, vast world outside. It's not only outside, it's not even appearing in your consciousness. Are you aware of the entire universe right now? Not even aware of what's outside on 71st Street. But Vedanta will say you are aware. You are aware of all of the entire universe as the unknown. You see, that's just a play on words, Swami. No, it isn't. I'll prove it to you right now. When we are in our dreams, suppose you're walking down the street, wouldn't you get the feeling, yes, I can see whatever is on 71st Street, but I can't see what's on 70th Street and what's on 72nd Street. In the dream, you would get the feeling, but when you wake up, you will realize that 70th Street, 71st and 72nd, all without any distinction, were in my mind only. Some of it seemed to be known because I was apparently seeing it in my dream. Some of it seemed to be unknown because I was not seeing it in my dream. But all of it was an appearance in mind. It's all an appearance in mind. So space is an appearance in consciousness. Time is an appearance in consciousness. And all objects, people, all the so-called fields, they are all appearances in consciousness, or in the language of Sri Krishna. They are all, the entirety of all these fields, all the fields are appearances in the knower of the field. Kshetragya. This is the meaning of Tattvamasi. There is one underlying existence consciousness place. This Sakshi. The Sakshi is itself what is called Kshetragya here, the ultimate meaning of Kshetragya. Those who have studied Vedanta, they will know there are two meanings. There is the direct meaning and the implied meaning. Vachyartha, Lakshartha. So those things have to be kept in mind.
Swamiji, is there any other way to describe this appearance? And is there any other way to say it than saying appearances and consciousness?
You can say it in many ways. You can say that it is the creation of God. It's the Divine Mother and her creation, you can put it that way. Is that what you wanted to, which way want you to say?
I'm just trying to understand it as a concept. When you say appearance.
If you want to understand the concept, then the appearance in consciousness is the most accurate way of doing it. When you are seeing something, what do you say? These are objects in my vision. Which other way would you like to say it? It's the most precise way of saying it. Then keep that in mind. If you see something, if you see this flower, the flower is an object in your vision. In your field of vision, it's an object. Now I am saying, whatever you experience, they are objects in the field of consciousness. That's the most accurate way of saying it. You can use devotional language. You can use materialistic language. But the most accurate, why I'm saying most accurate, this is literal reporting of your experience. What is your experience? Objects in consciousness. That's all. Yes.
I understand logically that everything appears in consciousness, but how to logically prove that the consciousness is one?
How to prove that consciousness is one. So we have done all that, remember? We went through the whole process. This is the distinction between Sankhya and Advaita. Sankhya will say multiple consciousnesses. Yoga philosophy will say multiple consciousnesses. Advaita says one consciousness. I will not go into that now, but I'll give you the clue. The clue is this. Advaitins reverse this question. Why do you say there are multiple consciousnesses? What do you mean? For example, if I say, why do you say there are many bodies? What will be your answer? You can see it. There are so many bodies. Please count. Why do you say there are many personalities here? When talk to people, you will realize very soon their personalities are different. But if I ask, why do you say consciousness apart from body and mind is distinct, different? All differences are in the field. No difference in the knower of the field. How so? I'll give you one little clue. Our waking experiences are different. Even now, when we apparently are sharing this one waking experience, still different. I am seeing from one perspective, you are hearing from another. You are hearing in one way, people at the end of the room are hearing in another way. People who are virtually watching are getting an entirely different experience. So even this so-called shared experience has different points of view. So our experiences in the waking world are very different from each other. And so are our dreams. So are our dreams. Each one of us has different dreams. Very different from each other. The dreams are not even shared. My private, it's mine and your dreams. But let me ask you, deep sleep. Is your deep sleep different from mine? Is your deep sleep and my deep sleep different from a dog's deep sleep, a cat's deep sleep, and mosquitoes' deep sleep? Mosquitoes also sleep, by the way. Ants sleep. I mentioned this earlier. I actually read a paper which says the dream sleep of ants. We have REM sleep and non-REM sleep. Rapid eye movement sleep and non-rapid eye movement sleep. So REM sleep is called dream sleep. And non-rapid eye movement sleep, it corresponds usually to our sushupti, deep sleep. Ants, this paper said, ants also they also dream. In their case, it is called RAM sleep, rapid antenna movement. So apparently they freeze for a few seconds and the antenna moves. They're actually sleeping at that time. Now, whatever it is. Deep sleep, tell me, can it be different from one person? Your own deep sleep. Can one deep sleep be different from another deep sleep? No. How can one absence be different from another absence? There is distinction only in the vishishta, in the individuality of objects. But when their absence, nothing is there, then how can it be different? If deep sleep is the same for everybody, how much more so the witness of deep sleep? What is Sakshi? What is pure consciousness? The witness of deep sleep, the witness of dreams. I said Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, Sakshi. So, consciousness is one. It cannot distinguish by itself. When it is associated with mind and body, you can distinguish. See, we are all different. But by itself, consciousness cannot. It's just like pure light. How can you distinguish it? In one case, from one case to another case. So it's one consciousness. And there are many arguments. There are multiple arguments given by the Sankhyans, which are refuted by the Advaitins and so on. Now, the Panchadashi, let me go ahead a little more. The Panchadashi deals with all this and shows. See, I am awareness, I am the witness consciousness. It is not difficult to come to this understanding. A little bit of thinking, one gets to feel it and one understands what is meant here. But the limitlessness of this consciousness, they put it beautifully in Hindi or Sanskrit. In Hindi they will say, Sakshi ka Brahmata. Yeah, Brahmatva. Can... Yeah. She was all right until I switched to Hindi. I think she's the only one listening very carefully to me. Somebody did an experiment, kept an AI assistant on while I was talking, and then the AI asked the AI to make a summary. Made a beautiful summary, probably better than anybody else who was listening. But the AI didn't miss anything. So, to know that I'm the witness consciousness, or at least to understand that I'm the witness consciousness, Even if you say, I understand it intellectually, good. Even to understand intellectually is not so difficult. You keep listening a few times, you begin to get what is meant. This is the body, I am aware of it. I close my eyes, feelings, thoughts, emotions are there, I am aware of it. That awareness is the witness consciousness. Not difficult to understand. But that awareness is Brahman, unlimited in time, unlimited in space, and nothing in the universe is different from that. Advaitam. Anantam, which is, Nitya, Sarvavyapi, Advaita. Eternal, all-pervasive, non-dual. This is difficult to understand. That the whole universe is one with that Sakshi, that is difficult to understand. And that has to be taught in Advaita Vedanta. So a book like Panchadashi, for example, does a wonderful job. And all other Advaita Vedanta books, they do that. That's what Sri Krishna did here. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. What did he say? First of all, he showed you that you are not the body. That the body is the field. You are the knower of the body. Already many things are accomplished. Disease, body, field, not you. Old age, body, field, not you. Death, body, field, not you. Birth, body, field, not you. Already if you accept that I am the knower of the body, I am not born, I do not die, I do not age, I am not diseased. I am not affected by disease, anything physical. Because that's the body. But then he goes further. This kshetragya, this knower of the body in this body, is one consciousness in all bodies and minds, and all those bodies and minds and external world are nothing other than that one consciousness. Is it getting a little warm in here? You can switch on that fan and switch on the fans also. If you want, you can open one window a little bit. That's what the Shastra does. Vedanta introduces you to that. Sri Krishna just introduced us. When he said, Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. I, the one consciousness, I, the Saguna Brahman, am the one consciousness in all of that, and you are one with me. Basically, he is telling you, Tattvamasi, you are that. The same meaning of Aham Brahmasmi. He is telling us that. We are introduced to it. That's what Shastra does. What Advaita Vedanta claims is, this is not something to be manufactured. It's not something to be attained through sadhana. It's already there, regardless of whether you are interested in it or not. Regardless of whether you accept it or not. Regardless of it, whether you are enlightened or not. It's already there. It's a done deal. The universe would not exist without it. We would not be able to see each other and talk without it, that one consciousness. It's already there. One sadhu used to say in the Himalayas, I used to attend his class, Tum jano ya na jano, mano ya na mano, tum hi Ram. Whether you know it or not, whether you accept it or not, you are Rama. So what the Vedanta does is, the only thing that is required here, then why don't we realize it? The only thing that is required here is removal of ignorance. We just don't know it. We don't know it, we don't see it, we don't feel it. Only possibility why we don't is because of ignorance. Our attention is not there. Our attention is drawn to it. Usually our attention is fixed on the kshetra, the field. Even what we take to be ourselves is just the field. Because when we say, I am attending to myself, nowadays there is a word, self-care. Take care of yourself. What does it mean? Take care of the field actually, what it means. Take care of the body, take care of the mind, self-care. That's also not the self, that's the field. Vedanta draws attention to the real self. That's all that Vedanta does. No other sadhana is there. Now the problem arises. We hear all this. We hear Drigdrishya Viveka, Mandukya Upanishad, Aparoksha Anubhuti, Pancha Kosha Viveka, the analysis of the 5 levels of the human personality, Avasthatraya Vichara, the waking, dreaming, deep sleep analysis. All of that, it leads us back to the conclusion, I am pure consciousness, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham. I sort of get it also, and then it stops. Then we have the same question everywhere. I understand it, and that understanding also sometimes goes away. And also, I believe in it very much. I think it's right. But I can't seem to, live it. In life, it's not making much of a difference to me. I'm still the same person. Somebody said, you're still the same dude. It is supposed to change my life. It's supposed to revolutionize my life. Did you not say it is a solution to all problems? Well, my problems have not been solved. I must be honest about it. Indeed, it has increased. I had worldly problems, now I have Vedantic problems also. Mind becomes upset. Many spiritual practitioners will complain. Mind becomes upset. Mind becomes sleepy or tamasic. Mind becomes restless or rajasic. Am I doing my spiritual practices? Am I progressing? How to fix the mind? All these are problems of spiritual seekers. No worldly person ever, nobody else in the park will ask me this. Only spiritual seekers will ask. So worldly problem plus spiritual problem now. So my problems have increased, not decreased. What to do? Why is this situation there? That's why Vidyaranya Swami, after writing Panchadashi, he noticed this problem. He taught it. It became clear to people, yes, I am Brahman. Two kinds of reactions. One is more honest kind, that it is not solving my problem. I'm still the same person. I understand what you are saying, but it's not solving my problem. And then it's very exciting, it's very thrilling, it's an amazing philosophy, but still. And the less honest kind of reaction, I am Brahman, then I can do anything? What's the problem? I'm Satchidananda, there's nothing else other than me. I'm immortal, nothing can kill me. I am non-dual, nothing is apart from me. The universe is, I'm infinite. Whatever I want, I can do. This leads to what is called utshrinkalata, disorder in society, damage to the ethical foundations of society, laxity. So, after this, he wrote another book, which is called Jivan Mukti Viveka. An analysis, an inquiry into Jivan Mukti. It says, yes, you are Brahman, but you are not getting the benefit of being Brahman. Yes, you are a billionaire, but you are still on welfare. Why are you not being able to spend your $1 billion? Why do you have to go around with a begging bowl? If you are a billionaire, if you are Brahman, why this sad face? Robert Nozick was a great philosopher, American philosopher. He writes in one place about Vedanta. If so clever, why so sad? If you are infinite consciousness, existence consciousness, why so miserable? So this question arises. And there he explains. He says, the benefit that you are seeking is called Jivan Mukti. Freedom while living. The ability to manifest this realization. That's why Vivekananda's definition of spirituality is wonderful. Manifestation of the divinity already within us. Not knowledge of the divinity already within us. Manifestation. Vivekananda said, my goal in life is to teach unto humanity their inner divinity and how to manifest it in every movement of life. In our thinking, in our speaking, in our actions, in our reactions to the world. That I am Atman, limitless being, it should become manifest. Why am I scared? Why am I greedy, lustful, angry? So, Jivan Mukti means the ability to live it, to live the talk, walk the talk. What does it consist of? He says all that we have talked about, Krishna has talked about till now, is called enlightenment, realization of the truth. It is realization of the truth. It is self-realization, no doubt. He gives it a name, Tattva Bodha, Tattva Gyan, or Tattva Bodha, realization of the truth. Who? Vidyaranya Swami. By Drigdrishya Viveka, Panchakosha Viveka, Avasthatraya Vichara, Kshetra Kshetragya Vibhaga Yoga, all of them. Sankhya, Purusha Prakriti Vibhaga. All of them, they are all various allied procedures, methodologies to bring you to this one conclusion. I am witness consciousness. Fine, done. But there are two more things. And he calls them Manonasha Vasanakshaya. Manonasha Vasanakshaya. Manonasha is an alarming translation, destruction of the mind. But it means the ability to become absorbed in the truth. Samadhi. Samadhi. Vasanakshaya means purification of the mind. Desires of the mind. They have to be purified. Otherwise, what happens is, I realize I am kshetragya. I realize I am sakshi. I realize I am turiya. I realize I am panchakosha vilakshana atma. I am the self shining in the cave of the heart. All of that I realize. But also, I sometimes get upset. Sometimes I get angry. Sometimes I get unhappy. Sometimes I get scared. Why this contradiction? Why this contradiction? As long as I am the body-mind, before Vedanta, as this person, it makes sense to be scared, angry, tempted sometimes good, sometimes bad. It makes sense, such a person can be. But why the Atman should be like this? So it's because of vasanas, impurities in the mind. Vidyaranya Swami's conclusion was, in order to get what you want from Vedanta, 3 things must happen together. Your tattva bodha, enlightenment, I am pure consciousness, which all this Vedanta will give you. But along with that, there are a set of practices which will purify the mind and focus the mind. Purified mind, vasanakshaya. Vasanakshaya means destruction of impure desires, vasanas. And manonasha means samadhi, the ability to become absorbed. Such control of the mind will become absorbed in the truth. What you have realized as the truth, mind should remain absorbed in it. Otherwise, what happens is civil war. Civil war within us. I have realized I am the Atman, Satchidananda. What is the mind doing? Is it thinking about the Atman? No. What's the job of the mind? To think. What's it thinking about? What will be there for dinner? Yes, I am the Atman, that's all right, but dinner. And did I put enough money for parking? And tomorrow what's going to happen? Worries, desires, all of them are crowding the mind. Mind is on something else. Are my eyes interested in seeing the divinity, or are they seeing the world? Are my ears interested in hearing the glories of the divine and Vedanta and Upanishads, or are they interested in gossip and worldly music and stuff like that? Where are my senses going? Where is my mind going? How am I speaking? How am I reacting in the world? What is the state of my body, senses, mind? What I am kshetragya, I have realized. But what about the kshetra? What is it doing? Why is there a conflict between my knowledge of the kshetragya and the rest of my body? The knowledge of the kshetragya, of the witness consciousness, remains isolated in the intellect. And everywhere else there is civil war. No wonder we have troubles. That's why we have troubles. So, there must be practices to bring about manonasha vasanakshaya. Long before Vidyaranya Swami, Sri Krishna knew that. And so after talking about kshetra and kshetragya, he follows it up with these 20 practices. When you read them at first, they seem like, be a good boy or a good girl. Don't be naughty. That's what it seems like. But you will see how deep those practices are, how deeply they are connected to non-duality. We'll see. So those 20 practices, what are they meant for? They are meant for developing vasanakshaya and manonasha. They are meant for actualizing our knowledge of. They are not meant for teaching you that you are kshetragya. That's already done. They are not Vedantic philosophy which will show you that you are the witness consciousness. That's already done. They are not going to show you that this witness consciousness is Brahman. That's already done. But they are going to allow you to live it. If you ask what is to be practiced, these ones are to be practiced. Krishna will tell you. Also, sometimes people ask, what should I do after I have understood Vedanta? Let's try these out. 20 things to try out. Sometimes people ask, what is the distinction between your classical Advaita Vedanta, which you are talking about, Gita, Upanishads and all, and the modern direct path, Neo Vedanta? Here is one difference. There are a number of differences. Here is one difference. The Neo Advaita direct path teaches, some of them, not all, some of them will stop by distinguishing between consciousness and everything else and show you that you are pure consciousness. Done. Krishna says, not done. So, this what is going to start now, that part they leave out. They don't talk about these practices. So this is the need. We will see one more thing, which was Sadhu said. I mentioned it last time in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna class. Why this problem happens, he says, he gave a very nice example. He used the word kūt sakshi, false witness. So witness consciousness, but now I'm going to use the term witness consciousness in the sense it is used in the legal system, not in Advaita witness, it's legal witness, courtroom witness. What do you expect from a courtroom witness? That he or she will report whatever he or she has seen, impartially. But sometimes the courtroom witness turns out to be a false witness. Why? Either they have been bribed or coerced, or that witness has a liking for somebody in the case or dislike or hatred of somebody else in the case. Maybe someone is a relative or a friend and he wants to swing the case on in that person's favor, or somebody is an enemy or he has a prejudice. That's why in jury they do screening to see whether you have prejudice or not. So that witness turns into a false witness because of likes and dislikes, because of temptation and coercion. Same thing happens here in Vedanta also. Yes, pure consciousness cannot be affected, you are right. The courtroom witness is different and pure consciousness is different. Cannot be affected, true. But the knowledge, where the knowledge is, the buddhi, that can be affected. The intellect which says, I have understood I am pure consciousness, next moment forgets its understanding. Then that witness consciousness now acts as a false witness. Why does that happen? Because the buddhi has not been purified. The mind has not been purified. And that sadhu gave a nice example. He had high diabetes, so an operation was to be performed. And the surgeon told him that, Swami, you have to reduce the sugar in the blood. The diabetes has to be brought under control, then only operation can be performed. If you perform the operation without controlling the diabetes, it will lead to serious complications. But if you control the diabetes and then perform the operation, it will lead to health. You will regain your health. Now that Swami said, that's a wonderful example, Vedantic example. The diabetes, the sugar in the bloodstream is all our likes and dislikes, our impurities of our mind, the vasanas. As long as they are floating around and clogging up our mind, if you perform the operation, what operation? Kshetra, kshetragya, separate. Krishna is asking you to separate. In your understanding, separate in your understanding. If you perform the operation, serious complications. What complications? A spiritual problem. Worldly problem plus spiritual problem. Serious complication. What complication? What was not there earlier? Earlier, I am this person, I am really scared about what will happen if I lose my job. What will happen if, war, politics, health problems, I am afraid. And then many things that I want. It is natural for any person. But now I am Satchidananda, but still afraid what will happen if I lose my job, and taxes have increased on this, prices are going up, and then I would like to go there and do that. Same problems continue. This is called serious health complication. You have performed the operation, but before the diabetes was brought under control. So then operation has been done. That's why after that the patient says, I am Satchidananda, but also keeps on complaining about a dozen different problems which were not there before the operation. Then you have the unedifying spectacle of enlightened person becoming angry, complaining, grumbling, fighting. One sadhu said, Rota wa jnani kisko pasand hai? Who likes a whining jnani who has many complaints about the world and life? But yet still I am Brahman. Brahman has no complaints at all. It's like the sky. The sky, the space gives space for everything and everybody. Space has no favorites. White fluffy clouds come, black thunder clouds come, dust storms come, even Hurricane Milton comes. It cannot come without space. Space gives space to everybody, has no conflict with anything. Brahman is like that. Should be completely above, transcending this, but you are unable to do it because of high diabetes. Operation was performed, so the advice is the operation, kshetragya operation must be performed after you have cleansed the system, purified the system to a high degree. How do you do that? These practices are there. We will see now. 20 practices. Let us read and we'll make a beginning. Verse number 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We'll chant together. We'll chant and then I'll chant and you can repeat after me and then I'll read out the translation. Amānitvam adambhitvam, amānitvam adambhitvam, ahinsā kṣhāntir ārjavam, ahinsā kṣhāntir ārjavam, āchāryopāsanaṁ śhauchaṁ, āchāryopāsanaṁ śhauchaṁ, sthairyam ātma-vinigrahaḥ, ātma-vinigrahaḥ, indriyārtheshu vairāgyam, indriyārtheshu vairāgyam, anahankāra eva ca, anahankāra eva ca, janma mrityu jara vyādhi, janma mrityu jara vyādhi, dukkha doshanudarshanam, dukkha doshanudarshanam, asaktir anabhishvanga, anabhishvanga, putradara grihadishu, putradara grihadishu, nityam cha samachittatvam, nityam cha samachittatvam, ishtanishtopapatishu, ishtanishtopapatishu, mai chananya yogena, mai chananya yogena, bhaktirabhyabhicharina, bhaktirabhyabhicharini, viviktadesha sevitvam, viviktadesha sevitvam, aratirjana samsadi, aratirjana samsadi, adhyatma-jnana nityatvam, adhyatma-jnana nityatvam, tattva-jnanartha-darshanam, tattva-jnanartha-darshanam, etajjnanam iti proktam, etajjnanam iti proktam, ajnanam yadatonyatha, ajnanam yadatonyatha. Humility, unostentatiousness, harmlessness, forbearance, uprightness, service to the Guru, purity, steadiness, self-control, dispassion for sense objects, an absence of egoism, seeing the misery and evil in birth, death, old age and sickness, non-attachment and non-identification with son, wife, home, etc., always being even-minded, whether good or evil befalls, unswerving devotion to me through the yoga of non-separation, resorting to solitude, and aversion for company, always being devoted to spiritual knowledge, perception of the aim of the knowledge of truth. All this is called knowledge. What is different from this is ignorance. So 20, if you count carefully, you'll find 20. They're called qualities, but they're not qualities, they're practices. If you say qualities, the problem is we'll immediately say, I don't have these qualities. But practices is something everybody can do. You can take action on these points. And you'll see all of them are very practical. There's something to be done there. What's the context? Remember, Arjuna had asked this question. Prakriting purusham chaiva kshetram kshetragyam eva cha jnanam geyam cha keshava etad veditum ichchami. O Krishna, I want to know these things. 6 things he asked for. One was field and knower of the field. And then he had asked, what is knowledge? In answer to the question, what is knowledge? Krishna gives this list of 20. How is this knowledge? Because normally when Vedanta, if you ask what is knowledge, we'll immediately say, Brahmatmaikya Jnanam. The knowledge means the knowledge of the identity of Brahman and Atman. That's what we say. So here it is explained this way. Anena jnayate, by which you attain that self-knowledge. That is called knowledge, by which. So by these 20. Normally usually we'll say, By Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, you have to listen to the teachings, you have to reason about them, then meditate upon them. Krishna says all that's later. First, these 20. I draw your attention to these 20. Let's take a look how we are doing here, shall we? And then we will go on to field and knower of the field. Otherwise, that operation is dangerous. This is the pre-operation, the pre-ops. Yes, we'll see what your indicators are like. Your sugar level, blood pressure, all of these things we'll see before we do the operation. Otherwise, serious problem. I'll be jnani at the same time full of complaints. So we will see one by one. Let me do just one to show you the depth of all this. The first one is very simple. I mean, there are 20 of them. Each of them seems pretty straightforward. Well, we'll see the depth. Amānitvam. So, mana normally means name and fame, prestige, my position, my status. That is mana. It's also a word used in Hindi and other Indian languages. Amānitvam means, it will be translated as humility. Not being arrogant, not being overly proud. Amānitvam. Now let's go a little deeper. What is this mana? It is identifying with the qualities of the body and the mind and other things associated with the body and the mind and feeling glorified thereby. With this body, with this personality and whatever is associated with it, and I feel glorified by it. I feel my prestige is added to by what? Maybe I am very rich, money, big deal, especially here in Manhattan. Somebody told me that I had come from Hollywood and said, Hollywood, there's glamour. Do you know anybody in the film industry and how many Oscars they have won and so on and so forth? But when I came here, somebody said, this is Manhattan, Swami, it's not your Hollywood. Here, prestige is money. Are you a millionaire, billionaire? What are you? So money, I am glorified by money, my bank account, or I am glorified by my degrees. I have so much learning. Right now, so many Nobel Prizes are being given. This is the Nobel week. So, prestige. In UC Berkeley, the Swami took me to see one place where parking lot. But that parking lot is only for Nobel Prize winners. So to park your car there, you need to have you need to be a Nobel laureate. So that's a sign of prestige. Learning. I know so much. Or it could be physical. I am so handsome or so beautiful or so strong. Or young. That's also another thing. Physical. It could be relatives. I am not important, but yeah, I am important because you know who my dad is or my uncle is? And especially in India, that's a big deal. Relatives. Name dropping, yes, I know such important people. It may not be relatives, but I know these people. I have associated with them. I'm friends with them, or I met them, I spoke with them. Somebody was joking about a particularly corrupt politician in India. Somebody said, do you know his take on Einstein's theory of relativity? So what is he? He says, he has his own theory of relativity. Everything is for relatives. Who's who? I know these people. It could be power coming from, which position I occupy. I'm a big politician, or I am the CEO of this company, or whatever it is. It could be power. It could also be the mana of just the opposite, of having nothing. See, I am such a great monk. I don't have anything. I live under a tree. That's my greatness. So this is called mānitvam. What's wrong with this? What's wrong with this? We invest in the kshetra. Notice kshetra and kshetragya. The kshetragya, the knower of the field, feels exalted by something in the field. You're supposed to separate yourself from the field. But now, this mānitvam, this pride, ego, it ties me to something in the field and says, this is mine, therefore I am great. No, you are great because you are Satchidananda, existence, consciousness, bliss. That is occluded, hidden. I have taken something there, identified with it, and I say, because of these features of the field, I am great. Yeah. Now we go a little deeper. What's the Vedantic problem here? In Sanskrit, another meaning of mana. So mana means pride. Another meaning of mana in Sanskrit and many Indian languages, measuring. Mana, mapna, to measure. Ma, the Sanskrit root, means to measure. Miyate anena, by which it is measured. Whatever is measurable is limited. It's not the immeasurable. It's not the infinite. So, mānitvam, to take pride, to be egotistic about something in the field, is to be identified with the limited. In Sanskrit, parichinna. It is just the opposite of being identified with the infinite. Infinite is amana, ameya. One of our monks, senior monks, his name is Ameyananda. Joy in that which cannot be measured. Mother, one of the names of the Divine Mother is Ameya. That which, she who cannot be measured, immeasurable. Now, when the moment I tie myself to a limited thing and measure it, and then I'm tying myself to something that's measured, I'm tying myself to something that's limited, cut off. Desha kala vastu parichinna. This is mine, or I am this, therefore I am great. I'm trapped. I have denied, automatically I have denied my limitless nature. I'm so rich, I'm so handsome, I know so many powerful people, I have such connections. I just know everybody, who's who, and everybody knows me. I move in these circles, and look at my degrees, and so on and so forth. All my achievements. I remember I was seeing a cartoon. This young kid is showing another of his friends. He comes from this very big family, and he's invited his little friends and showing the family portraits. That's my great-great-grandfather, great-great-great-grandfather. He fought in the War of Independence against the British. And that's my great-great-great-grandfather. He fought against the South in the war of the Civil War. And that's my great-great-grandfather. He fought in the First World War against the Germans. And this is my great-grandfather. He fought in the Second World War against the Japs. And that's, my uncle or somebody who fought against the Koreans. And this is who fought in the Vietnam War. And then in the Gulf War, my father, my dad. This little friend looks at all of these portraits and says, it seems like your family couldn't get along with anybody. So I am identified with all these heroes in my family. I'm glorified by it. So I have limited myself to the field. Therefore, I have disidentified myself from the limitless, aparichinna. Why did I identify with the field? What attracted me was some attractive features of the field. I want that for myself. And of course, because I don't know who or what I am. That's why. Now you see, this amānitvam. Amānitvam is a negation of this limitation. It is an affirmation of my unlimited nature. Amānitvam literally means brahmatvam. Immeasurability in that interpretation. The practical interpretation is humility. And the deeper philosophical implication is limitlessness. Do you see how it is limitlessness? Look at the result of this, how things can be understood and misunderstood. When I was talking about Vedanta, a professor in Los Angeles in a college, he asked me, this Vedantic thing, won't it make you egotistic? I am Brahman, I am the one consciousness and all. Whereas the understanding in the Vedantic tradition is, if you have got tattva bodha, just this knowledge of kshetra, kshetragya, I am Brahman, the first result will be you will not have any ego, because you are disidentifying from the ego. You become one with all. When is there ego? When there is some separation between me and you. If there is something that I have and you also have it, it is no good then. You should not have it, I should have it if it's good. Then only I feel proud of it. Because it distinguishes me from you. The first thing that this knowledge does is, it erases all distinctions between you and everybody else. It makes the universe one with you. No ego is possible. Ahankara will go away. The first result will be that. The Jnani, one interesting thing, the Brahma Jnani is the highest amongst us. But the interesting thing is the Brahma Jnani, the enlightened one, thinks of, the first thing that the enlightened one thinks of oneself as one with everybody. No distinction at all. Amānitvam, you see. It's not just be a good boy, be humble and be polite. No, it runs very deep. Any sort of trying to make oneself special. Okay, word of caution and stop. Remember, this is an advanced practice for realizing I am Brahman. Initially, however, the ego is important. Sri Ramakrishna says, Manhush, who is a human being, Manush in Bengali, Manhush. First of all, the same word, Krishna is saying amānitvam, no mana. Ramakrishna is saying mana. But that's first. What is manhush? Man means dignity. And hush means awareness. Awareness of your dignity. First of all, awareness of your dignity as a human being, as an individual, who you are. Yes, in your individuality. I am such and such person. I am a spiritual practitioner. I am a sadhaka or a sadhika. This is my dignity. This is my dignity as a human being, as a man, as a woman, as a spiritual seeker, as a citizen of this country. This is my dignity. And then the higher dignity, as I am pure consciousness or the realization of who I truly am. So initially, you should not start off by being a doormat. That will not be helpful in spiritual life. So Vivekananda said, Vivekananda's definition of humility, same thing, Vivekananda's definition. Vivekananda's definition of humility humility does not consist in being a doormat. Humility means seeing the greatness in the other person. What is arrogance? Sometimes confidence can be seen as arrogance. What's the difference between a confident person and an arrogant person? The arrogant person is contemptuous of others. The confident person is confident of oneself and has a regard for others, born of real confidence for oneself. If you are really confident in yourself, you will have confidence in others also. So, yes, that's the caution. Don't start off by thinking, oh, amānitvam, I am the infinite, so I am nothing here. Right? No. Confident, brave, steady, steadfast, and then that leads to true humility. So this is just one practice. And see how we are doing on that metric. Let me do the peace chant. They'll come with the basket and we can take some questions. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. All right. Is there somebody with the microphone? Is it possible? Or we can just, yes. Raise your hand and Patrick will come to you with the microphone. Yes, this gentleman here. Tell us your name and ask the question.
Namaste, Swamiji.
Yes. Yes.
Namaste, Swamiji. My name is Prasad. I also understand amānitvam as no comparison. Is that correct?
Amānitvam is no comparison. That's also a way of seeing it. When we compare to see ourselves as greater or less than others, others as greater or less than ourselves, that also comes by identifying with the limited. Yes. Anybody else? Do you have a question or no?
I have a question.
You have a question, yes. Tell us your name and ask the question.
My name is Tisha, and
yes.
I want to know
How do I become humble? Start.
How do I start?
Start. One way of becoming humble is, to identify with the other person. There's a difference between true humility and a show of humility. So there are spiritual paths in India which make humility an important practice. And there are jokes about it. The two monks who belong to that path, they were fighting with each other. Who is more humble than the other? And they came, it came to they came to blows with each other, each claiming to be more humble than the other. So not a show of humility, but feeling a oneness with others, feeling empathy for others. Then one becomes humble. Instead of setting off one against the other, and then a kind of, trying to be different from the other comes. But when you feel empathy for the other, why that person is speaking this way, what is that person thinking or feeling, let me feel that also. And then you'll see humility will come by itself. Like Vivekananda says, seeing the greatness in others another way, that same divinity is present. The divinity I worship, I bow down to in the temple. Vedanta tells me that same divinity is present in each being. When I'm arrogant with somebody, whom am I being arrogant with? Shankaracharya, he learned that lesson. The great master of Advaita Vedanta in Benares. With his students, he was going to take a bath in the Ganga. And the Chandala, the low caste man, he came and stood. And students, they said, Apasarpa, move aside, move aside. Shankaracharya is coming. And that Chandala said, tell me one thing. Whom are you telling to move aside? Asking to move, ordering to move aside. This body from that body. Both are bodies made of flesh and bone. Or this Atman from that Atman. Because Atman is one consciousness. What are you trying to separate? And Shankaracharya immediately realized this, that he was making a mistake. And the Manisha Panchakam, the 5 verses on wisdom. Dujo astu chandalo astu guru rityesha manisha mama. Whether it be a Brahmin, high-born Brahmin, or a low-born Chandala, the one who has this Manisha, this enlightenment, that is one consciousness, that person is my Guru. I bow down to that person. How did that humility come? It came through the sense of oneness and the seeing the greatness in the other. Another way of humility is devotion to God, Ishvara, a genuine bowing down to something much greater than myself. It will percolate in all my other activities also. I have one very touching story about Swami Vireshwaranandaji. A senior monk told me. Swami Vireshwaranandaji was the 10th president of our order. He's known as Prabhu Maharaj. So when he was the president of Belur Math, this Swami told me, he had seen it. He was a young Swami at that time. Every day the president of Belur Math, the main monastery in India, comes to the temple of Sri Ramakrishna to offer pranams to Sri Ramakrishna. So the president of the whole order is coming. And that's an occasion every day. Some people, nowadays even a lot of people come to just to watch that. Now one day, Swami Vireshwaranji came to offer pranams in Belur Math to Sri Ramakrishna in the main temple. And from outside the gate, one rickshaw puller, who used to pull a rickshaw. They are not fancy rickshaw pullers like in Central Park. They are very poor people and hard-working people in dirty clothes. He came and he didn't know that President Swami is coming, President Maharaj is coming. He went barred straight ahead and lay down flat before the shrine doing pranams there. And for quite some time. And so others, the volunteers and the younger assistant Swamis, they went to remove him from there because President Maharaj will come. This Swami was going to, he said, I was going to go there and ask that man to move aside. And he says, Prabhu Maharaj was a tiny, tiny man. When he passed, he was 26 kgs, they say. He's a tiny man. He firmly held my hand. He immediately understood what I was going to do. Held my hand and didn't allow me to move. After quite some time, that rickshaw puller got up and did salutations to Sri Ramakrishna and then left, quite oblivious of all the people who were waiting all around, including the president of the whole order. And then Vireshwaranji went and did salutations to Sri Ramakrishna and came. While they were coming down from the temple, this Swami told me that Swami Vireshwaranji, the president, turned towards me and he said, never do that. In front of Sri Ramakrishna, the president of Belur Math and a rickshaw puller are the same. Never do that. So in the presence of the divine, we are all the same. So our humility immediately comes. No matter how exalted I am, a truly spiritual person can immediately. That's why Vireshwaranji, it was natural for him. He didn't think of himself as anything separate at all. Sri Ramakrishna himself. One man came to see Sri Ramakrishna in Dakshineshwar and he thought who he thought was the gardener. Where does Sri Ramakrishna live? And he said he lives there. He goes. And then he saw it was Sri Ramakrishna himself, who he thought was the gardener. Yes. All right. Should we wrap up? All right. Thank you so much.